For the Untangle 101 webinar. Today we will be discussing how Untangle tackles web filtering and helps schools and small businesses solve these problems with an affordable solution. My name is Shannon Miles, and I am a part of the product marketing team here at Untangle, and I'll be your host today. With us, we also have our Director of Sales, Katie Benson, who's been with Untangle for over 8 years and has unlimited knowledge about the product. So just a few housekeeping rules before we get started. If you have any audio issues, please just use the audio panel and select your preference. If you're using a phone, you need to dial in and use the access that's provided. If you have any questions or problems, please just submit them to the presenter and we'll answer them throughout the presentation. All right, so just a quick look at our agenda and what we're going to cover in this quick 30-45 minute webinar. First off, we're going to go through what NGFW is, and that's Next Generation Firewall, and UTM solutions are, and how Untangle helps simplify network protection and management, and also the different implementation methods there are. Next, we're going to discuss the many problems that schools and small businesses are facing around legacy web filters, and dive into the solutions that companies can take to better protect their network and their students and employees. And then I'll pass it over to Katie, and she will take us into a deep dive demonstration of the actual product and showcase how simple it is to set up and customize a network for your environment. And then we'll quickly wrap up with the packages that we offer and special discounts for schools and nonprofit organizations, and answer any additional questions that we have. And with that, I'll pass it to Katie.
Awesome. Thanks, Shannon. Let me get set up here. So thank you to everyone who's joining the session today. And just a reminder, this is being recorded, so you'll have an option to rewatch it or revisit areas that you need to follow up on. As always, questions can be sent to the Q&A box, or you're welcome to send it to sales@untangle.com after the session has ended. We'll follow up with you there and get you the answers that you need with regards to your questions. So let's kick this session into high gear and really touch on the reasons Untangle is supported and loved by so many. Our next generation firewall came to replace the old legacy endpoint solutions we all know because the majority of them were and are not able to filter HTTPS traffic, or sometimes they're blind to this type of traffic, and that causes problems for network administrators throughout. This created issues for schools and industries, as we know, where there's required compliance measures in place. We have come to see that our staff and students over time become smarter and more motivated than ever, and when it comes to bypassing filters or finding workarounds, they still get the end result they want on those legacy filters. So this not only, again, opens us up to attacks, but it makes our jobs as IT professionals harder, and who really wants that? So with Untangle's next generation firewall, you're able to use features like our HTTPS inspector, application control, web filtering, and policy manager within one virtual rack solution to gain control and manage your network. And as we move through the demo today, you'll see those features here. But again, on the slide that you have in front of you, this is the Untangle GUI itself and the virtual rack that you see in front of you. All of the features are listed. And as we go into the demo, I'll kind of show you how that works each time. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, we actually have our new U50W appliance. This is our Untangle's new appliance. It's a wireless appliance. Just keep that in mind as you're looking at the need for your environment. And we have all the information on the website if you have questions about that as well as we move along through the demo. The virtual rack that you see is, again, listing your applications, and each of these are able to be modified as you move through by clicking the settings, and you'll see that in the demo shortly. So you ask, how do I get Untangle? Where do I put it, and how does it work in my existing network? Sometimes people have investments that they want to continue to use, or they have a limited budget or a limited IT staff, so Untangle makes it easy. Here on the screen you see that this is, on the left-hand side you see we call this a transparent bridge, and it simply is putting Untangle between your firewall and the main switch. That's one easy way to deploy Untangle. The other way is going to be as a router mode, and this is where Untangle is deployed inline, and all the traffic flowing is going to go through the Untangle and be filtered that way. So those are the two options that you have. With either of these deployments, Untangle features can be used the same way as the virtual rack as you saw on the last slide, but keep in mind Untangle is not a proxy and cannot be set up as a proxy. So because it's an inline filter, all traffic must flow through it in order to be filtered. So just keep that in mind. You have some options as well. Let's look at features, and to reiterate what I touched on previously with the benefits of Untangle, Untangle offers many features and benefits to help you protect and manage your network. As you can see, we have many applications that cover a variety of issues, including intrusion prevention, bandwidth control, virus blocker, and so on. For this webinar specifically, I'd like to focus on the filtering applications, and those being web filter, application control, HTTPS, and how those in conjunction are synergistic and work together to create the network that you need, something that's easy to maintain, easy to correct, and easy to report on. So we do have some schools on the line as well today, so I want to make sure that I give you examples of where this can be useful for you as an IT administrator in a school, as well as small to medium businesses if you're on the line. This can benefit you the same way that it can a school, just in a smaller environment. So Untangle, again, crosses borders and hits a lot of target markets in terms of small to medium businesses, retail, schools, but the web filtering capabilities are the same regardless of how you deploy it and where you deploy it. So moving right along. Specifically, there's more ways to bypass legacy web filters, and we'll touch on these as we go through the demo, but just keep in mind that, again, your students and employees are smarter than we actually give them credit for, and they find ways around web filtering. They can use it by web caching, web cache paging, modern web filters, application controls look for traffic by categories, they filter applications, and sometimes they even port hop, and applications like Skype and UltraSurf are two main examples of that, and how those students and staff can get around that and really bog down your network. Untangle gives you the ability with our application control to block Skype and UltraSurf. So those are great benefits in and of itself. So let's move on, and I will touch on the. We'll move into the demo. Give me 1 second to get my get you over to my box. Hopefully everybody can still see my screen. Shannon and Amy, can you guys see my screen on the demo side?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, awesome. Shannon, do we have any questions at this point before I dive into the demo? Do we have anything in regards to the offerings, how to deploy Untangle, anything like that, or should I just move right along?
No, I think we're good. The only question is NG Firewall for home or business use?
Sure. It can be used either way. Our target market is more geared towards small to medium businesses and schools. However, if you have a smaller network at home, we do have licensing bans for 1 to 10 devices, and that could suffice for you. We've got monthly, 1, 3, and 5-year pricing. So as budgetary constraints come up, maybe you can create your own package or go with the complete package if your funds are available for that. So we mainly focus on small to medium businesses, but you can potentially run it on a home network yourself. I actually am running it at my in-home office here. So it is doable. It would be based on your need and your budget. So, all right. So let's dive on into the demo. As you can see, the Untangle virtual rack is displayed showing all the apps and features in one place. This is the interface here when you log in and deploy Untangle. It's similar to an iTunes library. Over on the left-hand side, you see the apps in a rack, and then in the center of the screen, you see this is our virtual rack. It's a set of policies or specific groups for a set of IPs, and it's simply as easy as installing these features into your rack. They move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. And this is in real time, so you're seeing exactly how it would be deployed if you were to install Untangle on your network. And these are the main features, again, like we're going to go over. So I'm just going to install these 4, and we can play around with these as we move through the demo. But again, you do have all of these applications in conjunction with the paid and the free. They're all in one place under this library app tab. So the rack is broken up into 2 sections. The applications, again, like I mentioned here, that I just installed, the top section reflects these modules, and they can be configured into multiple different ways. For example, a teacher versus student rack if you're a school. or a CEO versus intern rack if you've got levels within your organization. Untangle defines a rack as again as a set of policies for a specific group or a set of IPs. And we'll see that as we go into the policy manager that I touch on a little bit later. You'll see how this can benefit both levels or however many levels within your organization you have. At the bottom of the rack, you see services. These are going to be these services apply to everybody no matter where they fall within your filtering or your Untangle. Everybody benefits from these. It's basically an overall organization benefit for these services. So no matter what you have application-wise, these services are going to be available for you. So just to continue on the rack itself, let's look at the other benefits or features that you have within the Untangle interface that you can look at. The configurations tab over here is going to be all of your network information, and as you click through, it's going to tell you about your system, what versions you're on. And of course, that's pretty similar to any UTM. All the Untangle information lives within these tabs. Across the top, you see your network numbers. You see sessions, hosts, CPU load. Of course, these are just numbers that are going to benefit you as your IT solutions provider or your engineering staff within your school or your support, IT support. So that's for them, but again, this is going to be specific to your Untangle box. You can see my load is very low because, again, it's my in-home network and I don't have much traffic falling through it, but it is what it is. But yours will be different, of course, and have more traffic. So let's jump right into the features themselves. As you can see, the green lights here, this indicates that the web filter module is on. The clear or the gray indicates that the application is off, and it's simply a matter of turning it on. And what it does is it takes a second, but you have to have HTTPS to be able to run that. So bandwidth control is going to set up in a second, and we'll see that as we move on. So let's dive right into web filter. And I like to say our web filter is our MVP of Untangle. It's just like a football team. If you have other players on the team to assist throughout the game, you always have that one key player that makes your team shine in different ways. Web filter is that for Untangle. We use other key features in conjunction with our web filter to analyze and report on networks, but the web filter in and of itself is one tool to fight against network troubles. We have a technology partner that we partner with called Zavello. We've teamed up with them, and they provide us a URL database. The categories are 143, and we've got 450 million URL database. It's one of a kind, and after clicking through the solution, you'll know why. With this web filter, you get the benefit of dynamic filtering. What that means is if you've got a company down the street that also uses Untangle, they've got employees or students or whatever the case is that bring online new URLs or, this is a global solution. So anybody around the world that's loading new websites or URLs, you actually benefit from that in real time. They've got 70 professionals in-house that actually manage and maintain this database and dynamically update it in real time. So you get the benefit of other people's, vice versa, they get the benefit of what you guys bring online as well. So let's look. This is the interface within the web filtering module itself. You'll see all the categories listed here on the left, and you'll notice the block and the flag, and then you'll see the description of each of these categories. Again, this is just like any other web filter in the market, but the size of the database and the uniqueness of those the filtering packets is kind of where Untangle shines. With 140 categories, it really does cover all areas of concern within an organization, and you'll see those as we go through. But what I like to do, if you're new to Untangle and you want to trial the product, what I like to tell people is I always suggest flagging the categories you feel that might be inappropriate for your organization. What that's going to allow you to do is really see what's going on in your network. If you happen to block sites or your staff finds out that somebody's watching them or monitoring their activities, what's going to happen? They're going to stop doing that, and you're really not going to get real-time data and real use case for what's going on in your network. So I always like to tell people you can block things that you really don't want, whether it be like child pornography or inappropriate to a child if you're a school. Block those. But if you're a small to medium business where you've got adults that should be acting right, what I would do is flag it so that you can go back and look at the reports and really analyze that and then filter based on what's really happening and not what you think is happening. So Untangle, again, is going to tell you all of these. In your reports, it's going to tell you what's happening based on your group or your IP address for a specific user. So if you don't see by chance a site if you have a site that comes online, or you have specific sites that your employees or students use on a regular basis that are not within our list, you can always add those, and that's going to be under our block site. It's very easy to add a site, and I'll do that here. If you just want to add, just for an example, we'll do CNN, and then this is Get Back to Work if they're wasting time. This is in real time, of course, so it is what it is, and you'll be able to see that the site is added here. Of course, it's add as many sites as you need. It's going to be a running list for you and your organization specifically. But again, the block sites under the categories here is what's the database that Zavelo maintains. If you have specific sites yourself that you don't want within your organization, you can add those here. Our web filtering also, and for an example, if I wanted to add, let's just show you for an example so you see what the block page looks like. I'm actually going to do playboy.com because that's a normal site that most schools or organizations don't really want people getting their hands on or being able to access. So let's do a test so that I can show you what the block page looks like. So we're going to apply those filtering features. And then if your employees or your students try to go to playboy.com, they're going to get what says it's not available, but it should be getting a block page, so I apologize. I'll show you the block page shortly. Maybe it's just that it hasn't been set yet. Hold on. Let me give it one more try. Here it is. I apologize. I hadn't applied the rules yet. So this is the filtering page or the block page that would show up. You see the Untangle web filter. You see the Untangle logo, and then all of this is set by default by Untangle, but you have the option to change those if you have a specific site that you don't want visited. So host name playboy.com, the URL of course is going to be listed, and then there's going to be a reason. By default, this is what Untangle lists or Zavelo lists, but this is, you can edit this and then put whatever you'd like. In addition to that, we do have a branding feature, so if you don't want it to show Untangle, you can show your corporate logo. If you're an IT solutions staff member or a provider, you can set it up to load your own company logo so that it looks like they can contact you if they have any problems versus Untangle. There really are a lot of options in terms of the branding and kind of what you want displayed. But this is an example of kind of the block page that would show up if that was the case. Again, let's go back into the web filter. I apologize, I had to get out to show you that block page. But again, we can block by site, by file type. This is going to be if you have an EXE executable file that you don't want downloaded, or if you want to set limits or rules within your organization, you can block these, flag these as well. It's the same thing. Block by MIME type if you have audio or PDF. If you don't want PDFs downloaded on your network, this is your MIME type where you would do that. Again, this is my home network. I really don't have use case for this, but I wanted to make sure that I showed you all of the options and the availability within the filtering capabilities itself. So you'll see all of those here. If you want to pass sites, you do have that option as well. Again, it's a matter of listing it here and then hitting done, and that pass site, nobody will be, actually it's requiring that I do something, so let's do in here, sorry. And then you want to apply it, of course. What that allows you to do is set up pass lists. If you are, use case for this would be you always want your website to the school to be available for anybody coming on your network. That's something that would require a pass, something on your pass list. If it's something that is, within the default settings on the block categories. You can pass clients again. This is going to be helpful to your CEO or your management staff where you don't really want them to be filtered, or you give them limitations, or allow them to visit sites, or their devices won't be filtered. You can add them to this pass list. So that kind of covers the web filtering capabilities. Again, it's very user-friendly. With 140 categories, you really do have anything at your fingertips to be able to block, flag, and maintain and manage within your organization. And if it's not listed here, again, we give you the ability to block sites specifically, block past sites specifically, or maintain and manage on your own in specifics for your own organization. Shannon, do we have any questions on web filter? I know this is one of our main features, and a lot of times we have questions regarding that. So is there anything that I can help answer for that?
Yeah, we have some questions around, safe search and YouTube for schools. So if you can touch on that a little bit.
Absolutely, sure. This is a main issue or a huge issue that comes in from our school side as well as government entities, and some businesses as well could benefit from this also. So if you go to, let's go back. It's got to save that. Sorry. If you click on the Advanced tab, you're going to see that Enforce Safe Search. This is going to allow you to block images, Google Images. By default, it is set to be blocked, as well as you can enforce YouTube for schools. And really, the only thing you would need to do is just get the identifier provided from YouTube and put that number here. That's something that you would get from them. So we can't provide that, but you can get it from YouTube.com. And then you would just put that there, click Apply, and move on. And then, of course, your filtering and your policies would be based on what you've put there. So, yeah, we can actually help with that. Let's see. Let's continue because I didn't say anything. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about Policy Manager. It's not going to benefit you, or it could benefit you depending on your environment and your solution. If you want to set up groups or teacher versus student racks or CEO versus intern, like I mentioned before, without our policy manager, everybody's going to be under the default rack, and everybody's going to be subject to the same settings or filtering categories that you have in place. So this policy manager is a great tool to be able to manage your network as well as set up different policies for different groups. It's a key part of the Untangle solution. It does allow you to administrate and create network access policies by username, time of day, and day of week. There are specifics there. Let me show you how to set that up and how that would benefit you. I've got some test racks here, but I can add a new one here just for our demo today. So let's do 101 demo. Let's do a test. And then what you have the option here is you can set by your default rack settings, or you can set up new racks and specific to this one policy or group. So if this is your student rack, then you can set up filtering strictness based on their status as a student, and vice versa for teachers or principals and higher up staff, counselors, that kind of thing. But what I'm going to do here is just show you that we don't want, we're going to create our different racks, so we're going to hit done, and then we're going to hit apply. And what that's going to do is show up in our policy rack, and I'll show you that when we get back to the interface. So within the policy manager, it's going to work in conjunction with the filtering, and what you want to do is set up rules. To add a rule, you click add, and what that allows you to do is set up by all of these different types. You can set up by username, time of day, day of week, client host name. It gives you quite a few options here. And again, these are and rules. So if you set five new rules within the policy itself, each of those rules must be met in order for this trigger to happen. So just be careful that you, when setting these up, that your flow is correct and you're not adding too many rules, because again, they are and rules, and all of these will need to be met in order for the trigger to happen. So it's very easy. We can just set up one by time of day. Let's just show you an example here. I apologize. I forgot to turn my phone off. So time of day here, it allows you to just set up, or you can specify a custom value, whatever time of day, if it's just, for an example, lunchtime or after hours, that kind of thing. So that's how you would do that here. And again, that's going to fall to your default rack, or if you're setting up a specific rack for your students, then you would allow those to perform actions with no rack, or whichever rack you specify here. So we'll go ahead and hit done there, and then we'll hit apply. Let's see. What else is the event logs? I don't have any traffic, or I don't have much traffic here, but again, this is something that can help. If you've got event logs within your policies, this is going to tell you the server port, client port, and any information based on your environment or your IP addresses. It's going to give you the timestamp on this. This is actually from a demo I did a couple of days ago. Some of the information is listed here. So you can get all of that stuff real time, or you can get it within the reports and have those emailed to you as well. Shannon, any questions on the policy manager? I know we had one come in about are there a number of racks that you can set up within the Untangle? The answer to that is no. You really can set up as many racks as you want. We don't have a maximum. But again, just keep in mind as you set up more policies and more racks, as well as more rules and filtering, it's going to get specific and sometimes can be overkill and you know, not allow passing of traffic for those specific users. So just keep that in mind, but we don't have a limit on the policy, the number of policies that you can set up.
No questions, Katie. Keep going.
Okay, awesome. So let's move on to HTTPS. Hopefully, I know there's a lot of information to cover, and again, the goal of this webinar is to give you an overview of what Untangle can do for your environment. Again, this is going to be specific for everybody. It's not going to be, you know, it's broad in terms of what we can do, but it is specific to your environment, and of course, your environment calls for different filtering capabilities as well as setup and that kind of stuff. So this is an overview of what Untangle could potentially do for you within the features that we have available. So moving on to HTTPS, more and more websites, as you know, are popular apps require users to connect via HTTPS for the protocol for secure communication on the internet, which everybody knows. By using our HTTPS inspector, organizers are able to ensure that the same level of control that Untangle exerts on the non-encrypted HTTPS traffic, excuse me, that's a mouthful, can also be placed on encrypted HTTPS traffic. An example of this in real time would be if you have, you know, if Apple releases a new version on iTunes and everybody tries to go and download the new version of iTunes at the same time. HTTPS would allow you to you know, either block that or block upgrades from Microsoft or whatever the case is. So let's look into this feature itself and see how it can benefit you and your organization. Again, this is all based on root certificates, block invalid traffic, and it really the benefit of HTTPS is so that your network doesn't get hosed at any point in time. You set up specific rules for these, and again, the main resource for this is to either block Microsoft updates, GoToMeeting, Dropbox, you know, PDFs, that kind of stuff, Facebook traffic. All of those are going to require lots of downloading and speed on your network. So again, I don't have any traffic on here, but if you had any of those and you had attempts to download within your organization, those events would be logged here for you to be able to see, and then you could see it based on username if you use Active Directory or IP address. So within our HTTPS inspector, it can be installed only on certain racks if the certain HTTPS traffic should be encrypted by policy, meaning user group, time of day, IP, etc. HTTPS can also contain rules for certain HTTPS traffic to be bypassed. And again, along with the policy manager, branding manager, web filter, and the next application we're going to go over, which is application control, you get this in an all-in-one suite with Untangle. And Shannon will touch on the offering, the package offerings that we have a little later in the demo or the session. But again, these all are synergistic. They rely on each other to work well. They can work alone if that's all you need. If you have invested money in, you know, another filter or another firewall, we still want you to be able to benefit from Untangle. So we do sell a la carte, and you can order just the HTTPS inspector by itself or web filter by itself. So we give you the benefit and multiple ways to order and use our product. Hopefully one of these ways will work well for you within your organization. So last on the demo for today, and I think, again, like I said, there's multiple things that we could go over, but I just wanted to touch on kind of the main key points of why Untangle is successful in the market and how it can help your organization. Let's look at application control. This is an awesome addition to a network toolbox, as I say, and here are some use cases for the feature. I mentioned earlier in this session that application control allows you to block and flag apps that might hinder productivity, reduce security, drain your bandwidth. Some countries, bandwidth is paid per megabit, so it gets expensive, and they have to maintain what they have in terms of budgeted dollars, and draining bandwidth is a huge deal for a lot of organizations. It also presents compliance violations. So what we want to allow is to control unwanted and untrusted applications without having to block entire websites. A use case for this would be, again, my Facebook app or applications. If you've got a marketing team within your organization, or you have, you're teaching social media within an education market, what you can do is allow Facebook access. However, what you would do is block certain apps within Facebook. So let me show you where to do that. All of these would be listed in terms of your session scan, your traffic statistics would all be listed here. But if you look at the applications, and let's just search for Facebook on this page. Again, there's hundreds of different categories and applications here, but if we search for Facebook, you see 22 out of this entire list. And if we scroll down, what that shows you is Facebook pops up quite a few times. There's events, there's messages, there's searching, there's videos. But again, you need your marketing team to be able to access Facebook for customer response, for promos that you have. If you have a customer asking a question, or you have a student who has an educational video within their Facebook that they need to show or want to show, you can allow specific secure levels within the Untangle, the Facebook app itself. So again, you can block social media altogether. You can block games, puzzles, GIFs, events, messaging. All of that can be blocked within Facebook using our application control, but it's still going to allow access to Facebook for things that are useful or educational. Because there are good things on the internet. Not everything is bad, but again, we want to maintain, we want to be able to manage and maintain the good qualities of the internet. So let's see, from the module within the column, one other area that in addition to the application control, if you remember back on our web filter demo section, we had a block and a flag. In this application control, tar pitting is the new addition, and what that allows you to do is it leaves the connection open but silently discards the data, making it much harder for the application to know it's been disconnected. This is a great addition. And it's very useful for the use case like I was mentioning about Facebook and access to Facebook. It is becoming a huge, productivity deterrent, and even in schools with people bringing their own devices and getting on Facebook at lunchtime, there's certain things that you don't want happening on your network. So tar pitting would allow you to have this capability as well. You can set up rules just like you can with your policy management or your web filtering. Again, your event logs are here, and your rule event logs. All of this information is going to be here for you to use to analyze your network, to report on your network. If you've got any issues with HR where somebody was visiting sites or doing inappropriate, searching on the internet using a work computer, you'll be able to see all of this information based on the filtering that you have in place. Let's see where we left off.
Katie?
Yes.
I had a couple of questions over here on one-to-one programs and mobile policy enforcement and filtering devices that are taken off-site. And I know we don't have time to go into exactly how that works today, but I just wanted to mention, because we've had so many questions about it, that we can do mobile policy enforcement, and we do that via a forced VPN, so that any device has to call back home to the mothership, so to speak, and have those policies enforced wherever the devices roam. So if you'd like more information about that in particular, you can either contact us at sales@untangle.com or jump on the forums or contact us at support, and we'd be happy to walk you through it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Amy, and it does benefit a lot of people to know that. Again, like I said, it's very easy to install the app, and the app that Amy was referring to would be our IPsec VPN. This would be, of course, just maintaining and managing and setting up, forced VPNs back to your mothership, as she calls it. So, yes, we absolutely can do that, and it's listed here for you.
And the other thing that we've gotten a few questions on that I also wanted to let people know, unfortunately we can't go through step by step on this webinar, is a few folks were asking, how does HTTPS Inspector work, and do I have to issue certificates? You do. I'll be honest, any solution provider out there, if you're going to do HTTPS Inspector, you are going to have to create a root certificate via this interface that Katie's showing and push those out to all of your devices. If you want specific help about that, again, feel free to please contact us at Sales and Support, and we can walk you through it.
Sure. That actually brings up a great point. Within Untangle, it's so user-friendly. What we have provided for you within the application itself is, let's say you do want to use HTTPS Inspector and you just don't know how to set it up. If you click on this help key within each of the modules or each of the applications, it's going to take you to the Untangle wiki for that specific module. It's also going to have FAQs at the top that you can, see if your question can be answered here. If not, we do have support. Support is included in all of our offerings, so if we can't answer it here within our wiki, which really 95% of the time answers questions, sometimes it's just not comprehended or it's not understood as to how to do it. Everything is listed there for you. So keep in mind that help is on the way, and we do provide support. We do have domestic support team within the United States that can help you and is very knowledgeable on how to set all of this up. So we can't, of course, go over it today, but it is unique and specific to each organization and how you need to deploy it. So awesome. That's a great question, Amy. Anything else you can add before we move on?
There are also a lot of specific questions about users and groups, and again, it's a little outside the scope of this webinar, but I promise we do these at least every month, so we'll definitely tackle it in the next one, is Policy Manager and Directory Connector. A lot of folks want to understand how users and groups work and things like rack inheritance, and unfortunately, again, we can't deep dive into everybody's specific configuration issues, so if we don't cover it, there's sort of three places you can get to us. So the whole sales team and product team is on the call today. You can grab us at sales@untangle.com afterwards. You can also hit us up at support.untangle.com. And you can also jump on our forums. Our forums have like 200,000 posts and 20,000 active users. So and people from Untangle, including our founder and our director of QA, are on there every single day. So they can answer some of those questions for you as well.
Awesome. Yeah, just to reiterate, kind of, we're here to help you. If you have specific questions for your organization, let us know. We're happy to work with you specifically and create an Untangle setup that works well for you and fills your needs and voids that you have within your environment. So again, as you can see within this short session, there are many things that we didn't have time to go over. My hope is that there is something that you find Untangle useful for in your organization or school, and that you have witnessed how user-friendly Untangle is. And what my hope is that you make your job easier in using Untangle and give it a try. You can't really know the real use case for Untangle or the benefits of Untangle without it being in your network. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the demo, you've got two ways to deploy it. You can set it up as a transparent bridge alongside what you currently have in place, run it for a 14-day trial, and really pull the reports off and analyze what's really going on. If Untangle doesn't work for you, then let us know why, so that we can, correct the problem or add a feature enhancement in a later release. All of those, your feedback and your input is very, it's taken very highly to our engineering team, and we want to know about all that stuff. So hopefully this demo was helpful. It shows you a little bit of what Untangle can do in terms of a small to medium business or a school. So what I'm going to do is pass it back over to Shannon so that she can finish up on the slide deck and give you some information on where to go to, be able to get in contact with us.
Great.
So Shannon,
Thank
I'll pass
you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Katie. Hopefully that demonstration was very beneficial to everyone. So just a quick, I know everyone's busy, so we'll just quickly finish up. We had some questions about the different packages that we offer. As Katie showed us, the complete package includes all of the NG Firewall application library, and Katie showed a couple of them today in the demonstration. So if you're planning on buying, 2 or more applications separately, it actually saves you money if you buy the complete package. And then we also provide 2 special pricing packages for those organizations that are either nonprofits or schools. So as you can see, depending on where you fall in and what kind of organization you are, you can either take advantage of our nonprofit complete or the public sector complete package. And if you wanted more information about these packages, all the information is on our website, or again, you can contact us at sales@untangle.com. So again, thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. If you want a more specific demonstration, please, again, contact us. We'd be happy to set that up and showcase how NG Firewall can be successful in your environment. We hope to see you again. Like Amy mentioned, we will be doing these webinars once a month, so we hope to see you next month. And have a great day, everyone.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Have a great day.